Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's me again, Chelsea, and today we're going to be looking at the worst books for me in 2022. So for me, I didn't really have any overly bad books. I think I'm actually starting to get a lot better at judging what's going to be something I enjoy to read rather than just trying to read everything. So I think I've got about 12 books on this list and most of them were just disappointing. None of them are like overly bad. So we're going to start with some series that I DNF'd, the first one being Giant Days, which I read at the start of the year. This is a graphic novel series following a group of 3 girls as they start university here in the UK, and maybe it was because I am not in uni anymore, quite possibly, but I just didn't enjoy it. I found it really difficult as well to connect with the characters. We have one who is portrayed as like a really gothic character, you've got one who is not like other girls and she's really standoffish, and then you've got another one which I think was more like a bumbling sunshine kind of character. And yes, I do know that these characters are obviously very likely to be in the uni environment, well, to be fair, they're in every environment, but I just didn't really connect with anyone, which means like I didn't really enjoy anything and I wasn't interested in learning anything that happened to them at all. So I DNF'd the series after the 2nd volume and I didn't enjoy it at all. I was quite disappointed in it, to be honest. And then the other graphic novel series that I DNF'd was the Lumberjanes, which again follows a whole heap of female characters who are almost like Girl Scouts, I think, and they're at like a summer camp, and again I didn't connect with any of the characters. I think my problem is graphic novels in general, they're quite small, so I struggle to either connect with the characters, get into the story, or just see the point. Not very often in a graphic novel, because to me there's not enough. I read a lot of adult fantasy, as you may know if you've watched any of my videos, or you can see any of my background. No, I haven't read all of these books, but if you can see my background, I have a lot of adult fantasy on my shelves, and that means that obviously my books are quite chunky and it takes a lot of world building for me to get into the world, and that's what I enjoy. So I think that's where I struggle with graphic novels. The only graphic novels that I've actually seemed to enjoy are ones by V.E. Schwab, and that could personally just be linked to her being an author for me, or it could be linked to the fact that those worlds, the 2 that I have read, one being the first in the Threads of, I think it's linked to the Threads of Power series graphic novel, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, and Extraordinary, which came out the year before. They're both based or tied into a world that I've already experienced, so the world building doesn't need to be there, which I think is why I have enjoyed them in the past and not anything else, which makes sense. So yeah, 2 graphic novel series that I have DNF'd, and also that I just didn't enjoy for whatever reason. Now, this list is in no particular order. I don't have a worst book of the year at all this year, and I'm not doing this in the order that I read them. I've got a small pile of books I also physically own here, which I'm going to talk about. The next one being this bad boy, The Discord of Gods by Jen Lyons. So this is the final book in the Chorus of Dragons series, and I was disappointed. So, like I said, final book. I wanted more. I feel as though the ending for this was a little bit rushed. So this is a 5-book series, if you didn't know. I read this with the lovely Lisa and my friend Kate from It's All About Fantasy. The Twitter is linked below. This month we are starting the Greenbone Saga, if you wish to come and join. But the first series that we read was this one, and I gave the first book in the series 5 stars. Sneak peek for tomorrow's video, just saying. And then the rest of them were 4 stars. Now, it was partially because I didn't carry on enjoying the way the story was told. So in the first book, we are looking at 2 different perspectives of one character in 2 different points of time, told by 2 different narrators, and then that sort of thing carries on throughout the whole series. I wanted everything to catch up. So with this series, books 1 and 2 are like a prequel to the whole story, kind of catching you up on 3 characters and like dabbling in with some of the other characters that are involved further in the series but you don't hear from their perspective. Then book 3, they all come together, I think, and then book 4 and 5 is kind of where we're at currently, but still there's a lot of flashbacks, and I just wanted to know The current story, I love the amount of context in this book. That is the one thing this does not lack. It does not lack context, it does not lack knowing a character's motivations. Not all of them are obviously very clear, a lot of them are more wishy-washy, so that you kind of don't know whether they're like good guy, bad guy, morally grey, all that fun stuff. And I think that is my favourite thing about this series, is that no one is entirely good. Everyone has got their own agenda, and it carries on from there. This one, I wanted more. I wanted more backstory. The final kind of bit of the scene, main point of this plot at the end, and I said this in the live show, I thought it was rushed. I had no connection to this and the event that happens, because for me, there was no real stakes. And I'm going to leave it at that, because otherwise I will get spoilery. So yeah, this is one that I wish I got more from. I wish there were more stakes. Doesn't feel like there was an awful lot. Disappointing. Next up, House of Sky and Breath. So I really enjoyed the first book. The first book was amazing for me. It was 5 stars. It was the first adult Sarah J Maas book I had read. I have read about half of the Tog series. I still need to finish that series. And I've read the first book in ACOTAR, and obviously that is not YA. But the first one is semi-ish new adult. And then obviously I know that the rest of them get a bit more mature themed. So this was the first actual adult books that I had read from Sarah J Maas, and the first one, like I said, I loved. There were some parts where I actually had my heart like being ripped apart. I felt really connected. I didn't find Bryson Hunt annoying. In this, I found Bryson Hunt so annoying. So annoying. I wasn't invested in their relationship. I didn't enjoy listening to their chapters. I did listen to this audibly. I didn't enjoy them. They were annoying. I don't know how many times I can say that. Probably once more. They were annoying. I wanted to hear more from Rune's perspective, and any other perspective in this book is what I wanted to hear from, not theirs. Because I feel as though in this book, like, the angst, kind of, and the attraction in the first book was brilliant, and I enjoyed how that was done. This, they've made a pact, and it's like, why? Why have you done that? And then there's a scene in this book where mature things are happening, and then it links into another thing, as like it links into like a power element. And I was just like, why? Why couldn't you have just discovered this on your own? Why do you have to do it with someone else? Like, but again, that's all I can say, because otherwise I'm gonna get really spoilery, and I don't want to do that. But it's still got 4 stars because of everyone else. But Hunt and Bryce knocked it down, and I'm really hoping that the next book is better, because I want to see more of everyone else and not them. Next up, Northern Lights by Philip Pullman. Again, 3 stars. I'm pretty sure everything in this video has 3 stars. Nothing has less, which is good. But yeah, next up, Northern Lights. Again, I listened to this, I thought, oh, I'm gonna give this a try. I tried to read it as a kid. I'm just gonna try and get through them, you know, the little middle grade books some of us read when we're trying to hit our goals. I just didn't enjoy it. I think part of my displeasure with this book is the narrator. Well, it wasn't a narrator, it was a cast, and the cast for Lyra's voice, whoever it was, I just did not gel with them. I did not enjoy it. So I didn't enjoy hearing her talk, and obviously she is the main character in this book, so you hear her talk a lot. And I don't know, it just wasn't to my taste at all. And the story is different to the film, which I do like, but I wanted this to make me want to carry on with this series, and I was just like, no. So this is another series that I DNF'd. Not fun. Didn't enjoy. After that, I read some indies, which I did not enjoy much. And unfortunately, the first one was Ducat and Dyer. Now, this book, I can see a lot of people enjoying. Me, myself, no. Because my issue with Ducat and Dyer was purely the fact that I was reading it as myself, as you do, and I just wanted to tell Michael to tell Stephanie to sod off. That was my thought the entire time. So you're following two friends in this book. There is a lot of comedic aspect. It's a sci-fi, so there's like time travel involved. And for me, just didn't enjoy it. Their character dynamic, I did not enjoy. Stephanie is constantly telling Michael what to do and dragging Michael into things that Michael doesn't want to do, but he doesn't have the guts to kind of stand up to her and tell her to go away because they're like old friends or something. So they've always been together, and he gets dragged into this whirlwind adventure that he just doesn't want to be on, and she keeps getting them into trouble, and he keeps getting frustrated but not saying anything, and I just did not enjoy that dynamic. There is some funny parts in this book. There's a lot of humour that I think I can understand why people enjoy this. So if you enjoy time travel and like kind of that bickery friendship dynamic and like a mystery element, because there is a mystery as to what is going on, then I think you might enjoy this. I just didn't. And then the other indie that I didn't enjoy as much was Captain Wu. I'll put the cover here because there is more to that than just Captain Wu. At the start of this book, Captain Wu is doing an exchange for this suitcase box item, and there's this whole big shootout because someone else wants this box and they don't know why, because it was just an easy job for them. And then they get back on the ship, manage to escape, and then decide maybe we should figure out what is in this box. And then they don't figure out what's in the box. Like, we just don't talk about it. We go around asking people about the box, but I don't even know what was in the box. And that was my main gripe with this book. Didn't know, made no sense. There was a really nice part where Captain Wu's granddaughter gets involved. That was quite nice. The family dynamic was nice. The found family element was nice. Just the point was not there for me, unfortunately. But again, if you like space operas and badass women, because this is filled with badass women, then check it out, because I can again see how people would enjoy this book. It just was not it for me. Next up, we have an arc that I was sent, and again, it's not that I hated this book, it was just not exactly what I wanted, and that was the Book of Gothel. This is a Mother Gothel retelling. I was hoping we would learn more. I was left with a lot of questions. Well, not really, actually. I was asking a lot of questions throughout the whole book, and it wasn't until the end that we kind of understood the Mother Gothel element of this book. But it's nice. It's like a redemption arc. Kind of. Ish. Not really. I was kind of hoping for a bit of back and forth in this one, which I don't often hope for. But the start of this book is we are in modern day. We are following someone who has researched Mother Gothel, or Halewise as she is otherwise known, I think, for many years, and then she is sent a letter about a diary and goes to check it out, and then we're brought into Halewise story, and it's almost as if we're experiencing it as the researcher is experiencing it, but there's no like in-betweeny bits. And then at the end, I don't know, it just wasn't everything that I wanted. And again, I think I can understand why people will enjoy this. I think this is more enjoyable if you are not like me, which is a strong high fantasy reader, and you're more of a contemporary reader, because this is more of a contemporary story. And I think that was what my main issue was, actually, thinking about it out loud, was more the fact that it was a contemporary story, and I am not contemporary. I want magic. And again, if it hasn't got dragons or spaceships in it, I'm not usually interested. But I wanted to give this a go because it did sound very much more like magical realism than it was for me, in my opinion. So that is why. So sneak peek at a book that is coming in an unhaul, which will be coming to you soon, and it's massive. So this is one of those books. And then my final disappointment for the year, before we can talk about the happier stuff, is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I loved The Night Circus. Like, I think it was a 5-star read when I read it, and I am looking to reread it again. I've got 2 copies of it on my shelf looking at me right now, so I hoped that I would enjoy this. I didn't as much. 3 stars. It was an okay book. I'm still muddled as to what actually happened, which I think is the point, and this is magical realism probably at its best, I think. But I had to read it audibly, couldn't read it physically, couldn't get into it, and even reading the audio was a massive struggle. So that kind of tells you all you need to know. The premise of this book is we are following our main character Zachary, who stumbles upon a book which has this on it, and has a story of himself in it. A story of when he was young. And that obviously sends him searching for what this book is, and he stumbles upon a secret kind of society thing. And then he gets pulled into different factions fighting over this book. There's a lot to it, I think, but there's not, and I'm just confuddled. And yeah, I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to, which is sad because it's a very pretty book. I will be keeping it though, because I enjoyed The Night Circus, and again, I think this was like one of the first ever special editions I ever actually bought once I got onto Bookstagram and stuff, so it's kind of sentimental to me, this one. So yeah, keeping it, but a bit of a disappointment for me. So there you go, those are my most disappointing books of the year. Again, I don't really have a worst book this year, which I think is good, because it means I know myself better now, and that's fine. So that is everything for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, which supports me on my channel. Leave me a comment down below of the book that you did not enjoy the most this year, because I want to know, and I'm nosy. And if you just want to leave me an emoji, leave me a sad face emoji, because like there's no point doing anything more overly hateful than that, because I didn't hate these books, they just didn't hit me how I thought they would, and that makes me sad. So yeah, sad face. If you want to see more of me, please consider subscribing down below and ring that notification bell to get notified every single time I upload new videos. I'm uploading every single day this week, so be sure to come back tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to be talking about my best books and what is happier than best books. So make sure you do that, and otherwise that is everything for today's video. I hope you're having an amazing day, and I'll see you soon. Well, I'll see you tomorrow with another video. Bye.